our culture switched. And like when I was growing up, I used to want to be like Felicia Rashad. I remember Maya Angelou, she told me she was proud of me for what I was doing. I was like, oh my God, like that was a big deal to me, right? Because I looked up to women that were older. But at this point, older women want to be younger,
Yep.
right? So you have 40-year-old women and 46-year-old women trying to look like and act like the 23-year-old. Then how do you know? Because when you're young, you don't think there's consequences, right?
Yeah.
The only way you know there's consequences is someone, like you said, an OG pulls you to the side and is like, look. So I feel like the problem is in our culture specifically, like we don't value experience and age. Like I look to those women for what I want it to be. But there's nobody like that now. Like now, I mean, there are some.
Yeah.
There's some amazing, but really the culture is chasing youth. So it's like backwards. The older
And
women want
yep.
to be young. That's the only thing. There are women, and I'm not, this is no disrespect, but no women in their 60s getting BBLs. Like,
That's
what
crazy,
is
right?
happening? What are we doing? So how can a woman who's 23 trust your leadership if you're trying to look like her? Felicia Rashad wasn't trying to look like I was trying to be like her. But if she was on the stage with, her butt out and trying to look like me, then I wouldn't have respected her. So I feel like we don't of course there's people don't believe there's consequences because the older people are lying. They're
Yep. Yep.
lying. They're lying. They're chasing the same thing. So you have rappers in their 40s and 50s getting into beef with Kodak Black. Like that makes no sense. There should be like in order to lead, you have to lead by example.
Yeah.
And to me, everybody is chasing the younger culture, which makes them disrespect. Why would I look at you? You want to be like me.
Well, I think another thing is, and I take the accountability for the men, and I hate that I have to do that right now. But there's a lot of older men that want to be young,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And a lot of times it's the ones I would say
Mhm.
that aren't married.
It
And so
always,
now
yes.
they want to be young so they can
Get
get
young
the
women.
young girl, right? And now you have the older women
Mhm.
who want to look young because the one in her age group is looking at the younger girl and dressing young and
Yeah.
damn near acting young,
Acting young. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like, at what point are we gonna have people that want to actually be a real community role model?
Well, I think it takes, like I said earlier, like I know I'm gonna say something that your audience is not gonna like. And that's okay.
That's
I'm okay
beautiful.
with them not liking it because I know I'm right. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because I've already lived that and I've lived that and I've seen it. So I know, but I think we have to be okay. This cancel culture and people feeling like they have to placate what's popular is a problem. People know, but they're just quiet. And you're
Mhm.
right. There is like for hip hop, that is one thing I can say I really do appreciate about Jay-Z is he did show his maturity. Maturation is a beautiful thing. But unfortunately for women, there's very few examples of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're wearing the same get up that you were in your 20s and you're acting the same, that's a problem. You know what I mean? So I think that, and I feel like that's a part of what I have to do. I have to say, uh, that's not it doesn't make you powerful. It doesn't make you a boss to have sex with all these guys. And if you get mad at me, that's okay. But at least I planted that seed
Yeah.
because that's what I'm supposed to do. Just like when I was younger watching Claire Huxtable, she was just fly, but she also was not saying the same thing that I was thinking when I was watching it. She was leading by example. I might not have agreed with it, but now that I'm older, I get it. So I think that you have to our culture has to embrace that. And I think people that are older, we have to be brave enough to make young people mad.
Mhm.
And it's like, Carisha, please, that's a whole like I'm not gonna agree with her. She's not gonna agree with me. And that's how it should be. If I
Yeah.
did agree with Carisha, what the hell have I been doing for these 20 years? If I
Mhm.
haven't grown, we should not agree, right? So, but I know people my age that want to cater to that. It's like, and I'm like, girl, that
50
makes
years old, calling yourself a city girl.
that's a city. Like I can't be. I'm not a girl,
50 years old.
but that's a
I'm not
problem.
a girl, I'm a
I'm
woman.
a woman, but that's a problem The problem is we don't want to piss them off because they're louder, but they need us.
Yep.
They need us. And if they don't agree, my daughter didn't agree when I told her that she couldn't wear certain things to school, but my daughter is 28 years old now and she gets what I was saying. You know what I mean? So, but if I was saying the same things that she was, I would my grandmother used to always say it's nothing worse than being old for no reason. And there are a lot of people in our culture that are old for no reason. Just old. Now you just look worse. Because
With a platform.
with a platform, it's like no matter what a woman does that is in her 50's, you could be gorgeous. You're still not in your 20's and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be because you have the maturity and the wisdom and you're supposed to be able to take them under your wing and say, "Girl, I got you." And you have so many more opportunities. I can add my wisdom to that and help you push you forward.
Why do you think? All right, so obviously addiction is like a drug, right? I mean, not addiction. Duh,
Attention.
attention is a drug, right? But why is it like? Why is it so? I guess addictive to the point where you're like, you don't want to grow. You know what I'm saying? Like what about it makes you not want to say, okay, it's time for me to go to the next level in my life, or let me go to the bigger step, the bigger
Yeah.
picture, which actually has more money, because
It
you know
does
what I
have more
mean?
money, but there are a lot of people that are driven by there are a lot of people that would rather be popular than rich. Like, really, like, I know that from working with celebrities. Like, some of them, if you say, "I'm gonna give you $50,000 or I'm gonna give you a brand deal that puts you on billboards across the country," they would pick that because they get addicted to people seeing them and recognizing them. That has more value to them than actually the money. I also wanna be honest because it's a different like I told you earlier, that power of feeling like a man's attracted to you, it feels good, right? And I think the same thing with men. A man wants to know that that he can catch, that he can hunt and he can get that and he can capture and take it back. A woman wants to know that she can show up in all her feminine glory and be attractive and desirable. And as you age, it changes, right? And it's a little daunting because it's different. So I know I love my husband to death, and I know that he loves me. But when I go out, I have a different response than I did when I went out in my 20's. And I have and sometimes that can get to you. It's like, man, I used to be, and that changed a little bit, right? But you have to know that it's different levels. And when I see my daughter doing that, I'm like, okay, it's kind of like in the Lion King when Mufasa was like, the sun has set on my time. Now the sun is on your time. Like you have to know when it's time for you to go to that next place. But I'm not gonna lie and say that it doesn't, it is a little bit like it's any type of growth is uncomfortable. So you have to be willing to go through that. And I think you also have to see value in yourself. And if your only value has been in being attractive, if you've never focused on anything other than getting men's attention, then you're going to have a hard time getting older.
You know what I just kind of like gathered right now?
Mm.
You said often that a lot of people would they either do things for money or they do things for attention, but the attention feels empowering.
Mhm.
So if I say power, so we have a lot of people nowadays that want to do things for money.
Yeah.
They want to do things for power. People don't want to value respect.
Yeah.
And when you have respect,
Mhm.
you have more power
Mm.
that can earn you limitless money.
That's true.
And I think that we got the game messed up
Mhm.
because we value so many people who have money and power but no respect.
Right.
But we don't want to value the people that have respect that got them money and power.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Kendrick because he kind of said that, in his in his thing. Well, he did. He said, money, power, respect, but the last one is better.
Yeah.
And
That
that's
takes a person that understands the long game. That also takes wisdom to understand that, because like the tangible things are the things that if you're dealing with your self esteem, you're trying to figure out who you are. Respect is not something that you can like. It's something that you can feel, but it's not something you get an immediate gratification upon. Right? It's
Mhm.
something that's built over time. So you pull up in that brand new something, and it's immediate gratification. The
Yeah.
girls is coming out. A friend of mine just got a brand new Maserati, and he's like, "I pull up in this, I get all the girls." Duh. I'm like, that's not a big deal. But to him, he wants that immediate gratification. The same thing with power. When a person can, when you see what people will do, I've seen. and I'm definitely like all for women. Like I said, I've done Charm and Etiquette. I love empowering women. I've seen women do stupid stuff because, like, okay, I've been in studios and the girls will just start. I was at a party for this is what I first learned. Because at first I was like, men are the problem. It's men. Hip hop is misogynistic. I was like writing essays about it because I've always been a writer. I was really like, black men are just not respecting women. I moved to Atlanta, started representing rappers. I was like, it's not them, it's us. I went to a party that T.I. and Michael Vick had. I have never seen such beautiful women doing things that nobody had asked them to do.
Yep.
No one had even asked them to do it. I'm like, at least be smart. Like, wait until there's a dollar amount offer. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What are you looking for right now? Because you're just in violation. And it's like a thirst and a hunger to just be near. Like, you're not gonna take him home. What are
Mhm.
you just want his attention for the moment? It's wild. And that happens and so I can understand as a man how that could get addictive and also boring
Yeah. Yeah.
because they'll do whatever. So okay, so let me see you do this. Let me see you do that.
And then and he's up,
It
up,
it,
up,
it,
up,
it,
up.
it it ups ups ups. So I mean, but that let me know that it's not necessarily men are not always the motivators behind women's bad behavior. Sometimes it's just them. Just like we talked about men wanting to show off to other men, sometimes women want to show other women, I'm the baddest in the
Mhm.
room. I can get it. And I'm like, but what are you getting? This is going to be a very quick, very unsatisfying situation.
Validation is like a disease at this
But
point.
it's because you're not happy with yourself. Because there's no way that you should be taken. I would be like, he didn't even ask you to take off your clothes yet. Like, at least just hold on until he asks. Let him
Yep.
ask. Because how is he going to value it if you just do it? And I've also been on, when videos were a big deal. When I first moved there, we were still doing a lot of videos, right? And I remember thinking because I moved there and I used to work corporate, so I thought, "Oh, I'll go to a video set and all the guys are gonna be just," I thought, "Oh my god, you'll lose your husband in one of these things." First of all, because guys are they're numb because they see naked women doing crazy things all the time because they have money or because they're around money. I'm not even I'm not T.I. or Michael Vick. I'm just hanging out, and Imma get some of that just because I'm
Just cause, yeah,
associated with
yeah.
it, right? So
It's hard to say no.
they're not gonna say no.
Yeah,
Why would they? They can't outrun it. Like, I
yeah.
can't. It's too
Who am I to
fast
say
to
no to
take it away
God's
from her.
child?
No. If I'm not a dream killer. If she wants to do this, let her do what she wants to do. I can't even blame them. But my point is like the men don't. I remember I was sitting down. We were a video shoot for with Ti, Scrappy, and a bunch. This was like early 2000s. And I thought that they were all gonna just be enamored with the girls because the girls were beautiful. Myself and we were publicists on set, junior publicists on set, and they were all sitting around talking. We were just talking, really, really talking. And it's like, wow, they actually can see through it. Now, when it came time to party,
They
they
picked
party,
it.
but really, men are not as driven by one physical motivator as women think. And I think you have to understand what it is about you that's dope outside of your curves and your sex in order for you to think that he would,
Yeah.
you know?
Like well, I actually said this on the podcast here before, or on the episode here before. Um, Women have to find another way to compete with each other rather than getting naked. Because,
Just don't compete, just be you.
well, yeah, I think competition. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is a part of competing, right? If they compete by being themselves,
Yeah.
the problem is if you lose, it hurts your ego,
It hurts your
right?
ego. Right.
Because you're like, damn, I wasn't picked.
Right.
But that's okay because that's how you know it really wasn't for
For you.
you.
Right. That takes a lot of maturity to get
It,
to that
it
point.
but like I don't think that's a maturity thing that we have to wait through years of life. I
Mm-mm.
think that is something that we should be able to instill, you know,
Agree.
I would say within high school, be yourself and whoever's for you is for you.
Right.
Try it out. And I promise you, if you go the other way, maybe one or two experiences, you'll see how it doesn't work in your favor,
Yeah.
and when that level of competition or that type of competitive spirit stops, whether you're competing to be nude or just to do more, right? To have less,
Right.
then we can have, you know,
It's gonna
more
take like real people like yourself to say that, because what people want to hear is, if I get enough money. I remember one of my guy friends told me, actually, it was a guy I was dating, told me
Yeah.
this. He said, my grandfather told me, if I get enough money, I can have any woman I want.
Mm-hmm.
Which is true to an extent, but that woman probably is not going to want you.
But that's not a man, though.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
but I'm saying, like, that's what we want to hear. So a woman wants to hear, I want to be so bad I can get any dude in the room. Well, that's not real. And so someone needs to say, that's not really, like, really what's for you is going to be for you. And anytime you have to change who you are for something, it's probably not really for you. But that's
Yeah.
not the answer that people want to hear. People want to hear, I can ball out and get what I want. I sleep when I die. Like, if you sleep when you die, you're gonna be sick. That is dumb. That is stupid. But that sounds great.
But I'm not gonna lie. The thing is, another lie that's told, and this is the part that's told by men, is like, money is what matters. You feel me? So like, men think that money is what matters, and although it does, and I'm
Right.
never gonna take it away,
Right.
but there's a lot. Well, here's a lie for you women. There's a lot of men that hide behind his money, and when you learn that men are hiding behind money, he doesn't really know who he is.
We already know that.
Yeah, but they still do it.
No, we know that we're using him. So
Oh,
women
okay.
know that. In fact, that plays into our game. So that's women. Women know.
Gotcha.
We're well aware
So
that
you
men
can tell
hide
which
behind.
one is.
Yeah, just like you can tell the insecure women, we can tell the insecure men, because the insecure man will offer. That's what so many guys get upset about, tricking. A lot of times, just like I said, the girls are getting naked without being asked. Men are offering to do things without a woman asking. I do you and I'm just like, I've always been a girl that works, get her own. When I first got there, do you know how many guys offered? They offered to do, like, I'm not even asking. It's very hard for me to turn down.
Yeah.
It's not really fair for me to do that.
Who am I to tell
I'm
God's
gonna
child
say,
no?
yeah, no. So I'm saying men do the same thing. And so when a man doesn't know you, but he's just offering to pay bills, or he's offering to, I was telling my friend earlier, when my son got ready to go to college, I was trying to come up with $20,000 like quick. I was like, I gotta get this money. And this guy was like, that I didn't like, was like, I'll give you the money. And so one of my other guy friends was like, tell him to give it to you in cash, like right now. So why would you offer to pay $20,000? Like,
Yep.
he knew I wasn't into him. So that's not on me. That's on him. And I know he's insecure. So I mean, women, we already know that. You're not telling
Yeah.
us a secret. We know, and we use that to our benefit. So a lot of times women, that's what I tell men, that I probably shouldn't, because I'm not having my sister's back. But really, like, any girl you gotta buy really don't want you.
Thank you, Crystal. I was trying to say it, but maybe it's better when you say it.
They're not gonna like me to say it, because I really did go against girl code, because we well, I mean, it gets what they want, because men are, we know that if a man is insecure, you can play to his ego and he'll give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
But except make you his, right? He's not gonna
Mhm.
necessarily marry you, but he'll give you money and stuff, because that's what he needs to do to feel
Feel
manly.
big.
Yeah.
Little guy. We've always glorified the wrong people.
Yeah.
And so our downfall usually stems from the top down,
Yep.
right? And it's the people that we voted in power, whether or not we realize we voted in power. We're the one who bought those CDs.
Right.
We're the one who paid for that music. We're the one who put you in a position to have this
Championed
money.
it. We have been taught. That's why I remember I had the honor of interviewing Cicely Tyson, like 6 months before she died.
Wow.
And I asked her about the Me Too movement, because I was just like, I know being in entertainment in Atlanta, it was not safe for a woman. Like, you come in a room, you're uncomfortable, and you're groped. You can't say anything because other people aren't going to want to work with you if you say something. So I was a little bit better because I was older and I was married and I knew how to, I had 2 kids. Like, I wasn't necessarily the target, but I still got a lot of things that made me uncomfortable, and I had a lot of people I had to check or just stop working with, you know what I mean? But I remember asking her, what did she think about the Me Too movement? And she said, that's not our business, right? She said, that's not white women's business and our business are 2 different things. Our culture is different. So, do you know how many black women were assaulted, raped, but we just don't talk? We would never come out the way some others has. And some of those, and some things, I think I understand it, but I also think it's part of our, keeps us stuck, because there's this unspoken
Mm-hmm.
loyalty to each other, because we know that not many of us, if Diddy and Jay-Z are 2 billionaires and we only have a few, I don't want them to go down. Like, that makes me look bad. So I can't say anything. And I understand where that loyalty comes, but it
It,
keeps us down,
of
you know.
course, it honestly, again, it'll only lead us further astray. And we gotta get. I pray, and hopefully, within this my lifetime, everybody who doesn't belong in a position of power won't. Right? That's probably never gonna happen. But at least
That's
balance it out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Right now, I feel like it's a 9-1 odd. The 9-1 that are
With the shits.
with the shits, right? That are doing things that will go against a lot of people's morals. And there's one person who's standing there and he's like, I can't, or she is like, I can't fight that fight with 9 of them.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I would pray that it at least gets to a 5-4 or like a 5-on-5. And it's not going to until we start having these different types of things. Now, I do know that there's a lot of consent that goes on in these places. I
Mhm.
also do know that there's some that aren't really
Mhm.
consented, right? And the second that we start to stop enabling our successors who are actually our demise,
Yeah.
that's the second that we'll be able to be at a better, position as a community. Because if we like, for example, we seeing on a smaller scale, we're seeing a lot of black fathers that are now, coming to the forefront and
Yeah.
being good fathers, right?
Right.
You know what happened? Black fathers had to check other black men.
Mhm.
Yo, if you're not gonna take care of your kids, you can't be my friend. I'm
Yeah.
definitely not gonna be around you, and you got two
Right.
kids at home that you don't even see. That's
Mhm.
or at somebody else's house.
Right.
And so after a while, now you're seeing the tides shift. We're all kind of collectively. I thought it was so funny. I just saw a dude doing a remix, doing like one of those like freestyles
Mhm.
with his daughter in his hand.
Oh.
And I thought it was funny. It was cool. He was saying like, "Yo, my daughter's bad and she don't want to listen." But that's kind of funny because it is what it is. But now we're actually seeing that being the spotlight.
Mhm.
So it's gonna take time, but I do think everything will weed itself out. And unfortunately, what's gonna happen is the people who are in those positions of power that are doing the with the shits things, they're gonna burn their resources and favors and or bridges and favors, and eventually that's gonna open up spots for then the people to come and fill them. And now I just hope
Yeah.
that we have people that are going to actually hold us to a higher standard,
Yeah.
and gonna value the respect and not the money,
Yeah.
because anybody can pay you to do anything.